the game. It's a rich thing.
What's up, y'all? It is Tasha. I am back with another review. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe if you are not already subscribed to the channel. We are back with the absolutely final episode of Put a Ring on It for season 3, y'all. Thank you, baby Jesus. Okay, so let's jump into it and talk about what happened on the reunion of this episode. So we see that Egypt Sherrod is hosting the reunion. I absolutely loved her. I've loved her since she was, I believe it was some sort of house hunting or decorating show or something on HGTV. Absolutely love Egypt, so I was excited to see her. We get a quick recap of the season. Basically, everybody looks absolutely gorgeous, like they are coming to a reunion, except for Kenneth, who looks like he just left his Verizon call center job and decided to show up at the reunion. Typical, okay? So they, of course, start with Charlie because she is obviously pregnant. When she walked in onto the set today, she lets us know that she's 6 months pregnant, so she was pregnant throughout the experience. I don't know how much time has passed, but it seems like she kind of said at the end that it was towards the end of the experience that she got pregnant. But then I believe like in social media, when she's been doing some videos and things like that, it seems that she got pregnant earlier on in the process. So I'm confused at this point. It's kind of like when, who was it? Phaedra. It's kind of like when Phaedra was pregnant on Real Housewives of Atlanta and she couldn't tell nobody when she was due. That's what this situation is right here, okay? So I'm just, either way, I'm like, if you were pregnant early on and Otis still treated you the way that he treated you, and you still wanted to stay with this man, okay, so they asked about their impressions of Dr. Nicole. They really only asked Shorty. Well, that's the only response that we hear. And she says that Dr. Nicole has a lot of patience because, you know, dealing with all these different couples and different dynamics and things that's going on, she has to have a lot of patience. And Shorty has let us know on social media that she never got a one-on-one with Dr. Nicole, which I didn't even realize watching it throughout the season. And it just seems like even the answer she gave was like a bit of a politician answer. And it just seems like there's some friction between her and Dr. Nicole. And I'm not exactly sure why. Because even on the very last episode when Shorty's like, you know, trying to take the mic off and Dr. Nicole's like, you don't have to mess with your clothes. You can just go. It's okay. And I was just like, that, it seemed a bit odd. So I feel like something has happened between the two of them and they ain't really feeling each other. I don't know what it is. But if that is the case, I'm going to need Dr. Nicole to be the professional that she's supposed to be on this show and not be engaging in pettiness with the doggone participants that's on the doggone show, y'all. So they show how Dr. Nicole gave them feedback throughout the whole time about their relationships. Egypt asked Dr. Nicole basically kind of why this type of process. And Dr. Nicole says that, you know, that these are the conversations that people are not having. So when other people enter the relationship, it kind of makes you have this dynamic of, well, I see what's out there for me and maybe seeing what I have in my relationship and whether you want to kind of tighten up and actually be with the person that you say you want to be with. So Egypt asked them about a pivotal moment basically in the process that kind of made them really shift and change their way of thinking. And Shea lets us know that it was basically when she realized that she can't control the situation. I mean, I guess, but you always knew you really couldn't control the situation. But I guess this was the epiphany of it all and what made you decide that you okay putting up with whatever you gonna put up with because you can't control anything. Otis says that he had a harder time accepting Charlie's reality when it was not his reality. And now he says if she has a problem, we have a problem. And of course, everybody's like, growth for Otis. I don't believe anything that comes out of Otis' lying little lips. Okay, so whatever. Shorty talks about the tools she got, but says really she came into this process thinking that she would exit the relationship, but she says that a lot of times because what they had going on, they were angry and she was always angry, she would really project a lot of that toxicity onto him, and she realized, she needed to do that work on herself. Kenneth said, he had some silent time, and during that time alone, he really recognized his self-worth. Okay, Kenneth, we are all worthy of all the things that we think our heart desire. But what did you learn that you're going to take away from this, that you're going to be better in your next relationship, sir? Nothing? Just say that. So we start with all the different recaps of the couples. We start with Shea and Fonzo. They look absolutely amazing, y'all. If Shea and Fonzo don't do nothing else, they know how to look picture ready together, all right? Regardless if, she don't really get down with his mama, baby mama, regardless if he cheating or whatever. They look good together, okay? She looks great in this pink dress. So Egypt asked Shea, why she used the term spouse throughout the season, because y'all remember that one whole situation where she said spouse, and Dr. Nicole was trying to tell her what a spouse is, and she's like, my spouse, girl, that's not your spouse. But she says it's because how they carry each other. They live together, they together. They had intertwined finances. They had intertwined businesses. So she was like, this is my husband. And I was just like, well, but y'all still ain't married. In the eyes of the law, that ain't your spouse. And if you crazy enough to get finances and business and all that intertwined with somebody that's not your spouse, girl, is you crazy? I understand the love of it all, but do you know what kind of mess, what kind of nightmare this could end up being if y'all had separated and never gotten married? And even then, once you get married and you try to define if something goes wrong, what happened before the marriage, what happened during the it gets messy, girl. So quit doing wifely things with a boyfriend. Bottom line, cut it out. I don't care how you call him. That ain't your spouse until you sign them papers and it's filed away with the courts, okay? Cut it out. But Shea tells us after the proposal, they separated for about a month because she said, I guess Fonzo had a come to Jesus moment and he came clean about everything. And essentially it was a little bit too much for her to swallow. So Egypt asks, if there was infidelity there, and Fonzo says yes, but that was way back in the day, early on. Sure it was, Fonzo. Sure it was. She says she came back because he had a plan. She didn't have to, say what she wanted or what she needed or whatever. He just came back to her. And if really it wasn't up to par, she would not have been here. Fonzo said, basically letting us know, I guess he went to therapy. So therapy really helped him maneuver through everything that he needed to. Shea also lets us know that everything seems to be well with his mom. She spent more time with his mom. They talk on the phone. They all in love with each other now, I guess, y'all. So they recap some of their dates, including Hibachi Gate. So they brought back old girl that Fonzo went on a couple dates with, the girl that looks very similar to Shea. I can't remember her name. And then they brought back Asar, which was the guy that was on the Hibachi date with them that saw her act out. They said they invited his date that was on that Hibachi date too, but she couldn't make it. And I'm like, y'all knew y'all was being real messy if this girl would have showed up here, okay? We did not need her to show up at the reunion when they was fitting to get into it, at the restaurant. We did not need that at all. So Shea says she has to apologize really to Fonzo, Taysheree, and Asar for her behavior at the Hibachi restaurant. But she says she went on more than one date with Asar because basically he was a nice guy, and she says that he is a catch, but she is already caught, so he can't catch her. Fonzo Dates says that he really thinks that he was afraid of Shea, and Shea is like, you think this 6'5" man is afraid of my 5'6", whatever she said. And it's just like, and this man is, I believe, a little bit afraid of you. And his date then clarified a little bit and was like, well, kind of afraid of losing her. I do agree with that. I think Fonzo does not want to lose her, but I don't know if she is enough for him to be on the straight and narrow all the time. That's the only thing that I question. I feel like once they kind of get into it, then unfortunately things will kind of just settle back into what they have been for the past 3 years. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they live happily ever after with 2.5 kids and a little white picket fence. But because of the industry that Fonzo is in, it makes me, raise little red flags up. I don't know how long this is going to last, child. So then we find out that Asar and Fonzo's date, as they were kind of sitting backstage waiting to come out, they made a little connection, y'all, and they going on a date later. So I said, well, that's cute, I guess. So next up is Charlie and Otis, y'all. I honestly don't even care about these two. I have no need or desire to even follow them after this show is now over, because I really don't feel like they have learned anything. I know Otis has said these things, but it's just what they are. He said these things. I don't feel any genuine motive. I don't feel anything that is sincere about this man. And I honestly don't feel like Charlie learned anything. Absolutely nothing throughout this whole process. Basically ignored the advice the whole time. They played tit for tat back and forth on these dates and basically just wasted our time on this TV screen. And again, she tells us they got pregnant towards the end of the process, and basically kind of they knew they wanted to stay together. And I guess the baby was just the extra tick on the pro list of, well, I'm pregnant now, so we just gonna be together. I guess that overshadows him being a freaking gaslighter. Oh, okay, girl. So they talk about their dates, and they have Chris and Milan, who's actually there with them. So, Chris is, the faux Odell Beckham with the blonde hair. And then Milan is the one that I believe it was Otis's very first date, the one that they actually end up being kind of from the same place. Chris said that he think that they had a real connection, but he could really feel that she was still connected to Otis, so it was a tricky situation. Otis says when asked that he really didn't recognize see a connection between the two of them. Of course you didn't, Otis. And then Charlie lets us know that it was really hard opening up to Chris because her focus was always on her relationship. No, your focus was on what can I do or get this man to say or flirt or whatever to, have something to talk about or let Otis see this and then him be jealous and him really want to do more for me. That was your motive, Charlie. So Egypt asked Milan if, basically her and Otis really kicked it off. And Milan is like, I kind of think he was a little bit more into me than I was into him. And she was like, lets us know that Otis has been sending her DMs and Otis has been texting her. And Charlie's like, I've seen all the DMs and stuff. And, Egypt tried to ask her, do you know about the texting? And she kind of... Charlie acts like she's like, no, I wasn't aware, but then starts throwing shots at Milan as well. And was like, I saw the dates and she was boring. She couldn't really hold a conversation. I'm like, why are you attacking this woman because your man is trash? Charlie, grow up. So Milan starts reading some of the texts and basically he's saying, he wished he was with her. He wanted to give her a massage to some 90s R&B music, child. He said he really wished the cameras wasn't there, as if he wanted to do something else with her that he would not have evidence footage of. And of course, Otis denies it all. And Charlie isn't open enough, or she has these blinders on to see that this man is completely lying to her. Milan tells us also that they actually met in person. They met in a parking lot. And of course, Charlie's like, what you doing? Meet somebody in a parking lot. And she's like, well, we didn't live, far from each other or their work or something like that. So they kind of just met up. Otis denies it once again. And I'm just like, Otis, you looking like a real liar. And Charlie, you just over here, you keep drinking the Kool-Aid because you in denial and you don't want to believe that your man could be a liar and a potential cheater. Like, I know you pregnant and all and you want to think the best and y'all engaged, but it does not change the reality of the situation, girl. But Otis is just like, I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we got a baby on the way. And his dry, square looking face is just... I'm over the two of them. And I'm so happy we are done with this season because... the way Milan is like, this is crazy, the delusion of it all, I 1,000% agree with her. Otis is just trying to sit her on the stage and play it cool and act like she is the crazy one going all off the hinges. But I believe her. I believe Milan. And I understand that there are some women out here that actually lie on men, but Charlie, it would benefit you to not believe everything that's coming out of your man's mouth and actually maybe, do a little sidebar with Milan and be like, yo, let me know what's up. Woman to woman, give me the tea. Because I would rather know now than you continue to get married to this man, have more kids with this man, and his behavior continues to be the same thing that is exhibited today when you could have left today. Baby or not, I don't believe nobody should stay in no type of relationship because they have kids. Kids are not crazy, and who wants to be in a toxic environment and raise kids that way? And then you continue to show the next generation that this is okay and this is normal relationship behavior. No, it is not. Okay? Baby or no baby, Otis is who he is. And I don't see him making any changes no time soon that are permanent. Now, fresh new little baby out the womb makes everybody feel all the feels and the butterflies. But eventually, he will slide right back into the same behaviors he is exhibiting to you right now, Charlie. And I'm going to need you to realize as you are going into this next phase of motherhood, it is no longer all about you and you just being stupid, dumb in love with this man. You will have then a son or daughter that's looking up to you, well, the both of y'all, to figure out how you're supposed to maneuver through this thing called life. And kids deserve to have happy parents, whether that is together or whether that is separate. Y'all don't want this toxicity that y'all have to flow over into your children, and then it just keeps going generation after generation because mom and daddy did it, grandma and granddaddy did, great-grand. Nobody wants that, okay? Nobody, all right? So next up, it's time for Shorty and Kenneth. So the two people that actually did what needed to be done and not be together on this show. So Egypt asks where they stand. Shorty says they haven't spoken at all since the day she kicked him out. She lets us know that he has called her every day for the past 4 months. She's blocked him on all social media. She's had to, of course, change her number, but then he also sends her emails, and he sends her emails saying that he's downstairs. So creepy. Kenneth, stop it. You looking real stalkerish, and it's getting scary at this point, okay? Kenneth says that she is a liar and she takes basically everything and tries to destroy it if it is not to her liking, and she is just a master manipulator. Egypt asks, how they got here, and he says once he saw the footage basically of everything that she was saying about him, he says that she was lying, acting like he was a bum. And he lets us know that when he met her 3 years ago, she was working at a small radio station. She was making about $25,000 a year, riding a busted car, and basically saying that she begged him to move so that they can go 50-50 on things. I ain't saying he a liar, but I don't necessarily believe all of what he just said, okay? He says that basically he was so drawn into her, he was willing to move and make whatever sacrifices, and he kind of lost himself in the process. Egypt, tells him that now that he's really coming off very angry. He's like, nah, man, I'm cool. I ain't mad, as he continues to sweat bullets from his forehead. Shorty says that she didn't say he was broke or bummed the entire time. And Egypt says, well, you can kind of say things without really saying things. And I do agree. You gave us the nuggets that needed to be gave to kind of let us know that his finances ain't all the way together. And I still believe maybe his finances ain't all the way together. That's not saying he doesn't make any money, but how are you with your finances and planning for yourself for the future is where the focus is at this stage in the game. Shorty tells us that he tried to steal $2,500 from her at one time. And of course, he said she's lying. And Egypt was like, well, why would you continue, to stay if he did that? And she was like, I'm glad you asked that. But she essentially said she felt like she could not leave the relationship without any consequence, which is why she stayed. So she talks about, the messages that he left on her social media pages. And they talked about that briefly within the season. He said she assumed it was him because he was mad at her or they weren't talking or whatever. And I can't remember if when they talked about it the first time, if they were together or if it was just her. But if they were together, I don't remember him denying it. I thought this was kind of the same conversation when they talked about him taking the screenshots of, her payment information. And he was like, he was just a little crazy or whatever. And I'm just like, but now all of a sudden she's lying about it. That's not really something you can lie about unless you're trying to go back and delete those messages. But if it's there, it's still there on the social media pages, child. Like, cut it out. But they say, Shorty says that she came on the show to walk away, but she really wanted to also get him help in the process. And Kenneth is still going on and basically says if she wanted to get some eggplant, then she would call him. So I guess he was like, she would say she don't want me, but then I would come drop off some, and, we'll go from there. So he keeps going on and on about how he felt bamboozled because she had, of course, one thing in mind of I'm coming here to let him go. And he's coming on thinking that they're working on their relationship and working to actually get towards getting married. Egypt asks why she would bring him on here and humiliate him on TV. Egypt girl, I like you and all, but Kenneth humiliated himself on TV. Stop giving this man a pass. I feel like everybody keeps giving this man passes and making Shorty out to be the bad guy in this situation. Have they both contributed to probably the toxicity of the relationship? Yes. But Kenneth is crazy. I am sorry. Point blank in the period. He is crazy. And he don't get no passes because she may have humiliated him on TV. I don't care. Not here, not today. Shorty says that was not her intentions, but she says she should be able to walk away from a relationship freely and not have to change the number that she's had for 15 years to get him to stop calling her. She actually tells us that she has security on set with her today, and then Egypt kind of has a little one-to-one with Kenneth and is like, y'all are done. This seems to be done. You cannot continue to verbally attack her or any other woman, and do you understand that is not the way that you can move it? He's like, yeah, I understand. And then immediately is about to get into it with her again. And Egypt is like, we just said we're not going to do that. Again, this man has not learned anything, okay? He says he's blessed and they should both be leaving here without any further communication. So then they come back on the stage and they have some of their dates. So Hollywood and Tavy is there for Shorty. And then we have Myasia, who was the intern for Shorty previously, on stage for Kenneth. Child, Hollywood looks a complete mess. Like, what did he do to his teeth? His teeth did not always look like that, did it? It looks a hot mess. And I don't know why people keep doing this nonsense to themselves. So they talked to Tavy. He said it was always good vibes between the two of them and they had great energy, but things kind of just fizzled out between the two of them and they really have not been in communication. And I really want Shorty to kind of pick that back up with him now that she seems to be in a better place. If he is still single, kind of just date each other and see what happens because y'all was cute together. Myasia says that she thinks her and Kenneth had a good connection. She says she understands him. We're both Geminis. I hate when people use zodiac signs as if that's really supposed to mean this is the love of your life, the person you're supposed to be with forever. No. Okay? But she basically says he is the male version of her. So Egypt asks if there is, anything between them. And you can see Myasia is trying to figure out a nice way to be like, hell no, girl, I watched the season. I ain't trying to mess with him like that. But she says, Kenneth has a little bit more work to do on himself, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all that before she could consider if he would be someone that she would want to be with. Girl, say no and run. You see what Shorty went through. Shorty is then asked about, her comments on Kenneth dating women out of his league, and she stands 10 toes down on that. And I agree with her. She says that, he wants to deal with women who have things to lose because he wants to then be able to hold that over them when they're trying to walk away from the relationship. And I agree. Kenneth said, he's good. Again, Shorty is a manipulator and that's all he can focus on. So I'm just like, again, have you learned anything about yourself? Because every comment has been about tearing down Shorty, bashing Shorty, talking about what she's done to you, but what have you done on yourself to not be this same type of toxic man in another relationship, Kenneth? Like, I know part of the show is trying to figure out if y'all gonna stay together, but also part of it is you hopefully having some realizations and epiphany, something about yourself to see where your flaws lie and where you can do better as well, sir. I'm gonna need you to go to therapy. So lastly, all the couples come back out with Dr. Nicole, and Dr. Nicole gives last words to Kenneth and Shorty and basically says, you know, the goal of every relationship should be to be in peace and not in pieces. So as they enter their next relationship, they should be, you know, whole pieces, and then they'll be good. Dr. Nicole, some of these little, you know, analogies, these little phrases, these little quotes, tweets, they sound real good, but I need a little more substance behind them. I mean, is it just me? Just let me know. They ask about wedding dates. Fonzo and Shea says they're looking at October to have this grand affair. Charlie and Otis, they are focusing just on the baby right now, so they do not have a wedding date in mind. And Fonzo and Shea are asked, you know, if they're thinking about kids, and she's like, yes. And Shea is like, girl, no offense to you, Charlie, but we got to get this wedding done first. And I'm like, you get that legal part done first, okay? Okay? Focus on that. Let's see if that's going to work out before y'all start bringing offspring into this, okay? Shorty says she's focused on herself, and Kenneth uses this kind of last parting words as an opportunity to plug a movie that I guess he is in, directing, I don't know, that's coming out at the end of the year, but he says for now he's just working. Y'all, this was, honestly, the reunion probably wasn't really needed. I don't feel like we got a bunch of other information that would have changed the course of the decisions that were made. Yes, getting the tea from Milan was great, but Charlie is so far gone that she's just drinking whatever Kool-Aid Otis is serving her at this point. And, you know, Dr. Nicole wasn't even on the stage, you know, more than 5 minutes to really give some real valuable, I guess, feedback or background information about, you know, how this show went or things that may happen that we really did not see. Everything that they kind of showed us were things that we've seen the whole season. So it was just like, why y'all waste our time for an hour for this reunion? But maybe it was just me because I'm completely over these couples, okay? But let me know what y'all thought about the reunion in the comments below. And whenever they decide to come back with season 4, I'll be back reviewing it, and hopefully the couples have much more potential than these did this season, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.